Okay, let's talk about that feeling, brain rot. We're going to dive deep into the system that actually creates and, believe it or not, monetizes that exact feeling. We're going to follow the money and figure out who's building this whole economy, and maybe more importantly, who's paying the price for it. It all starts with a feeling I am sure you recognize, that dazed, kind of foggy exhaustion you get after you fall down a scrolling rabbit hole. You look up, an hour's gone, and you just feel drained. Well, you're not alone. This is a huge shared experience of digital overload, and it actually has a name.
Yep, it's called brain rot. And this isn't some niche slang term anymore. It's become so widespread that Oxford University Press named it their 2024 Word of the Year. It describes both the super trivial content itself and what it feels like it's doing to our brains. So let's really unpack the system that's powering all of this.
Okay, first things first, we have to understand the product that's actually being sold here. And spoiler alert, it's not just about the videos. It's a psychological hook, and it has been engineered to be incredibly effective. And this right here is the absolute key. That addictive quality you feel, it is not an accident. It is 100% a feature, not a bug. These platforms and the content that thrives on them are literally built to exploit our brain's most basic wiring for motivation and, pleasure.
And this breaks it down perfectly. It's a dopamine loop. It's built on something psychologists call intermittent reinforcement, which, by the way, is the exact same principle that makes slot machines so addictive. You swipe, you get a tiny little chemical reward, a quick hit of dopamine, and your brain immediately starts craving the next one. You just never know if that next video will be the really funny one, so you just keep swiping. Now, this is where it gets really wild, because we can actually see the physical impact of this. Research from the University of California found that heavy users show way less activity in their prefrontal cortex. You can think of this part of your brain as its CEO. It's in charge of focus, impulse control, making good decisions. And constantly overstimulating it like this actually weakens it.
So the bottom line here is that this leads to real, measurable costs to our thinking. Your attention span just shrinks, which makes it harder to focus on, a book or a long movie. Your memory can suffer because your brain never gets a quiet moment to actually store information. Impulse control gets weaker. You might even feel more anxious when you're not scrolling. This whole cocktail, that is the recipe for brain rot.
So if addiction is the product, where is it all being made? Let's take a trip to the factory floor and see how this content gets cranked out on a massive scale.
Welcome to the era of the content farm. We're not talking about individual creators here. These are operations that are all about churning out thousands of low-quality videos a day. People call it slop or sludge content. And the engine that's driving this whole factory? Artificial intelligence. It's turned making content from a craft into a commodity. And this right here is the assembly line. It's incredible. A single person can now use a bunch of different AI tools to automate the entire process, from start to finish. An AI writes a script, another one generates the visuals and the voiceover, a different program stitches it all together, and another tool just blasts it out everywhere online, instantly. The goal isn't to make one great video, it's to flood the algorithms with thousands of them. Oh, you have absolutely seen this formula in action. It's engineered for maximum sensory overload. You've got the main story to hook you in, right? But then there's the secondary video playing, like a mobile game or someone cutting soap, just to keep your eyes glued to the screen. Throw in a robotic voice, super fast cuts, a viral song, and boom, you have a video that is scientifically designed to stop you from ever looking away. All right, now we get to the heart of it, the money. We've seen the product and we've seen the factory. So who is actually getting rich off all this stuff?
So at first glance, the money actually doesn't seem that great. The payout for 1,000 views on a YouTube short is tiny compared to a traditional long video. So the business model here isn't about making valuable content. It's about getting an absolutely insane number of eyeballs on it. It's a volume game.
And here's what that volume looks like in the real world. To make just $100, a creator might need more than 200,000 views. This is the economic engine that fuels those AI content farms. Since it costs basically nothing to make one of these videos, the only strategy that works is to make thousands of them and just play the viral lottery over and over again. So what about the platforms themselves, like YouTube or TikTok? Well, their algorithms aren't judging quality. They're not neutral referees. They are basically just giant mirrors that reflect and amplify whatever keeps us staring at our screens the longest. And since this brain rot content is designed from the ground up to be addictive, the algorithm rewards it with more and more visibility. It's a perfect loop. More watch time means more ads, which means more money for the platform and for the content farmer.
So let's put it all together. This entire economy is basically one big transaction. So who's on the winning side of that deal, and who's the one stuck footing the bill?
Well, the winners are pretty clear. The platforms get all that ad revenue from our screen time, the content farmers get paid for their automated slop, and now even big brands are getting in on it using this style for viral marketing. The price? Well, it's paid by us, the viewers, in the form of that cognitive decline we talked about. And it's also paid by genuine creators whose amazing, high-effort work just gets buried under a mountain of AI-generated junk. And this is really the hidden cost of all this free entertainment. Our collective attention just gets shattered into a million little pieces. We end up in this constant state of digital fatigue, our patience for anything that isn't instantly gratifying just disappears, and the overall quality of our online world gets eroded because the algorithms will always, always favor addictive slop over actual substance.
And this quote from a Reddit user just nails the frustration perfectly. The problem isn't that bad content exists, right? It's that AI allows it to be mass-produced on a scale we've never seen before, a scale that can just completely drown out anything that's actually good, making it so much harder to find stuff worth watching. So, after going through all of this, what's the big takeaway from our tour of the Brainrot economy? Well, it's really about understanding this system so we can start to reclaim our most valuable resource, our own attention. But here's the good news, and it's really important. Our brains are incredibly adaptable. They're designed to change. The effects of brain rot, that foggy thinking, the short attention span, none of it is permanent. By being more mindful about how we consume content, maybe setting some screen limits or intentionally looking for longer videos or articles, we can actually retrain our brains for deep focus again. So I'll just leave you with this one last thought to chew on. In an economy where your attention is the product being bought and sold every single second, it's really worth asking yourself, what exactly are you being sold? And is it worth the price?